Okay then, clip 2. This is going to sound really, really strange, and I get that when examiner says, right, you can start writing now, your instinct is to go back to the exam paper, start writing and working out what have I got to do. However, I'm going to tell you on this occasion to do something different. I would spend the first 5, maximum 10 minutes or so at the start of this exam getting to grips with the resource booklet. Why? Because, well, basically, the answers are in here, or there's a lot of blooming big clues to the answers in here. And what it will be about is either the taiga or the tropical rainforest. This one is a tropical rainforest example, but the whole exam is going to be based around a geographical issue. Like I said, either on the taiga or the tiger, however you want to pronounce it, or the tropical rainforest. Now, if you think about that logically, there are only certain geographical areas that they could actually apply that to. You know, what springs to mind for the tropical rainforest is the Amazon, Indonesia, which I think this one is actually all about, or possibly somewhere around the Congo Basin in Africa. Okay? With the taiga, again, there's only certain geographical areas that they can focus the whole of the resource booklet on. So I would imagine maybe somewhere like northern Canada, or perhaps even parts of northern Russia are the distinctive regions of the taiga or tiger. It will focus on the idea of a geographical issue. Now, what that really means is, how are we going to develop these two places? So it will bring in aspects of forest, rainforest, energy supplies, conservation, development, people in the biosphere, environmental concerns, different people's viewpoints. I mean, look at the title, People and the Environment. So we've got to expect some kind of aspect of both of those. Now, why 10 minutes? Because somebody has taken a lot of time, spent a lot of money to put together a 10-page plus resource document. And the lesser candidates will just ignore it and plough on. I want you to spend at least 5 minutes going through this. The first page is crucial. It will tell you what this issue is all about. Okay, so although the answers and marks aren't going to be on here, on this first section as it were, it will give you some idea of context and background and where am I. So I'd very, very carefully read it. There is nothing to stop you underlining and highlighting bits of information in here, okay? And the kind of fact box tells us, conflict over energy and environment in Indonesia. Helpful map showing me where Indonesia is. Basic facts and figures, because they're not expecting you to be a world expert on Indonesia. And bearing in mind, some of you may have never have heard of Indonesia until you've opened this booklet, okay? So it's going to give you some information about population, size, wealth, processes that are going on, exporting and producing palm oil, fossil fuels oil, and lots of tropical rainforest. If any of those words are looking unfamiliar or what the blooming hell are they going on about, then you clearly haven't done revision. We have covered population, industrialisation, fossil fuels, tropical rainforests, energy resources. So we've covered at some point all of those things. There's then a bit more detailed information about the tropical rainforest, telling you what it's like. Now, some of it's blooming obvious. Tropical rainforest has all year round rainfall and high temperatures. I think you should know that. Anyway, read that, read it carefully, pick out the terms. It's not written with a view of a GCSE pupil, so it reads a bit more like a textbook or a travel guide. So some of the words you might find confusing, right? Work round them. You know, I've no idea what that means. Okay, but look round it. Poor rural community. Okay, now the rest of the resource booklet is going to be a series of maps and charts and diagrams and tables and photographs, which I think 5 minutes just spent skim reading it and trying to pick out what it's on about and understand it is time well spent. I've got a map here. Okay, they've marked on countries for me, Brazil, China, Indonesia. They've put the equator on. There's the mystery country here. Surely somebody is screaming at me, that is India. we studied India, compass on it, etc. There's a table full of data, different countries, trends and population over time projected. Okay, I'm looking for all the time with resources. What's the title? What's it about? What's it showing me? I'm not just going, oh look, there's a pretty map, they've coloured some of it in red. Oh, here's a table of data. What could it mean? I'm trying to think about what this resource is actually showing me. Okay, and I'm just indicating there the population's increasing from the look of it. Okay. Number 2, figure number 2. Again, I've got a graph, and I've got a graph over time. I'm looking for the axes, I'm looking for the units of measurement, I'm reading the title, I'm looking for the trend. Right, there's nothing to stop me using a ruler to scribble all over that. I've got to grips with it. Figure 3, I've got a map of forest cover. Clearly it's decreasing. I've got dates on it again. That's 1915, that's 2000. I've got things marked, compass on. And I just keep going through it. Okay, another kind of line graph, 2 countries, money promised by Norway, money given. Look at the evil Norwegians there. They've not given Indonesia the right amount of money. There's a graph at the bottom. I've got scales on it. I've got units. Pretty pie chart. Now it all will be in colour, and it all will be labelled and annotated, and a bit later on, as you'll see, they expect you to use this, and like I said at the start, the answers are on here. Okay, and I've got to try and see these resources through a geographer's eyes, so I don't just think, oh look, there's some trees. I can see it's a rainforest, I can see the structure of the rainforest, the thin tree trunks, the canopy, the emergence. Clearly that's deforestation. Clearly that's some kind of farming going on. In fact, make a connection. That is that. They're clearing the forest to grow this stuff here. Oil palm fruit. And oil palm, which again you may not have heard of. Oil palm goes into all of these products. Which, let's face it, if you haven't heard of all these products, there's something wrong with you. Okay? The graphs and data might get more complicated. I've got fossil fuel prices, palm oil prices. Now, if they put 2 graphs together, as a geographer, I should be seeing connections and patterns. Okay? There's a map of Indonesia with some of these islands that now make sense. That was mentioned at the start. There's bits of information to read on environmental impacts. Now, it might feel like this resource booklet is endless, but we are, in fact, at the back. Okay? And the last one, figure 10, is looking at different viewpoints. All right? Remember, people and the environment. This is looking at different viewpoints. Now, I know, like I said at the start, it may sound quite strange. Spend 10 minutes maximum on this booklet. Why? Because it will save a lot of time and effort later on. Okay? You've read it, you've understood it, you've got an overview of what's going on, and that will make it so much easier to answer some of these questions.